everyone! Happy Wednesday! Happy April Fool's Day. Have you made any pranks yet today?
I haven't. I totally forgot.
Yeah, I meant to make one on Jaden, my son, but I haven't got to it yet. Hopefully he doesn't realize it's April Fool's Day.
It's probably pretty hard to pull one over on Jaden.
It is. So we'll see. I'll keep you posted on that. And it's beautiful. It's sunny out. It's great. It's springtime. I'm so happy because one, it's sunny, and two, it's Mandala making class. Woohoo. Yay! So a couple things before we get started with this amazing class is join us on our Artrageous Arts community. Don't forget. Share all your things. Share what you created today with Christine. We want to see. We love seeing. It's so inspiring. We can't wait. And then if you need more Artrageous in your life, I mean, who doesn't?
Who doesn't?
Who doesn't? Join us on our website, which is artrageousexperience.com. You'll find all the videos there that we've done. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can get posted up on what we're doing. And then they're also being on our website there. So if you missed anything in the last few weeks and you want to go back and see, that's where they'll be. And also our Artrageous store. Have you seen our Artrageous store?
I haven't been to the Artrageous store. I know what I'm doing when we're finished.
There's a lot of really great things. There's some OG merch there, and there's also some new stuff that we're just creating, some handmade items from our artisans here at the Artrageous Arts community, and you'll love it. So check it out there. Now, without further ado, Christine's going to teach us mandala making. Yay!
Thank you, Lori.
Yay!
Hi, Artrageous family. I am so excited to be here today to talk to you about making one of my very favorite kinds of arts, and that is the mandala. I brought some examples. We're going to talk just a little bit about what a mandala is, what it means, and then most importantly, how you can make your own with me today. So, before we get started, what you'll need if you want to draw along with me today is not much. The very basics are some paper or something to write on, and then of course something to write or draw with. So that could be a pencil, markers, paint, crayons, whatever you're feeling inspired by. There are some other tools that if you want to be a little bit more advanced, you may need. So I'm going to show you some of my favorite tools first. For making mandalas, and one of them is the compass. I know moms, you're thinking back to math class how to use these. I'll show you in just a minute. Another is a protractor and a ruler. Of course, erasers, pencil sharpeners, anything else you want to use for your chosen tools. So before we start actually drawing, I just want to look at what a mandala is and what it means. So I'm going to put it here on this paper. Okay. So mandala. Mandala is a word that comes from the Sanskrit language in India. Here it is, mandala. And mandala actually means a circle. So while a circle is a shape that we can use inside of a mandala, it's also a very basic principle of mandalas because they start in the middle, and just like a flower, they bloom from there outwards in a circle shape. So we know that Sanskrit is from India, so mandalas are definitely in India, but they've also been used in almost every culture around the world since ancient times. It's thought that they started in Tibet, but we found mandalas in the pyramids in Egypt, throughout Africa, India, Asia, in Native American cultures in North and South America, and they're represented in many religions like Christianity, Islam, Hindu, Buddhism, Taoism, just to name a few. So, if mandala means circle, what does it mean when you draw a mandala? Well, most people in these cultures say that it's actually a visual representation or a picture of the entire cosmos. That's right, the universe, everything that exists is represented in what we see in a mandala. The circle represents wholeness, unity, it represents cycles, harmony, and above all else, it represents the self, your inner self, and everything in the world around your inner self. So, if people around the world since ancient times have been drawn to mandalas, Why? Let's look at what makes them so magical, because they are magical. In fact, it's said that a mandala has its very own unique energy or vibration that you can feel when you're drawing one or looking at one. They're very calming and peaceful. When I look at a mandala, I just think, wow, it's so beautiful. It makes me feel awe. And it kind of connects me to nature and everything that's in the universe around me. That's some pretty powerful stuff. So here's my thought on why there's such a great energy in a mandala. And that is because the human brain loves patterns. That's right. Patterns are things that repeat or happen again and again and again. They can be with shapes like this simple pattern: circle, 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 triangle, circle, 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 triangle. Or they can be with colors: purple, pink, blue, purple, pink, that's right, blue. Patterns could be more complex too, like the patterns that we see in a butterfly. Here we see a repeating shape, circle, 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 circle on one side, and then the pattern repeats on the other side as well. In fact, there are many examples of patterns in nature in the things that we find to be most beautiful. I brought you some pictures. Here's something we all know from nature: the flower. The flower is a lot like a mandala. It's circular in nature. It starts in the center and blooms outward, and there's a pattern that repeats. On a flower, it's the shape of its petal and the colors of its petal. But there are other patterns in nature too, like one of my very favorites. And maybe some of you are living near the ocean right now, and write in the comments where you're from. I'd love to see. If you are so lucky to be near the ocean, maybe you see a lot of these seashells. Seashells are something that have patterns in nature as well, and we love to see them when we're walking down the beach and collect them. So now that we know what a mandala is and why we find mandalas to be so beautiful, we're going to learn what we're really here to learn, and that is, how do we draw a mandala? Now I have the secret, because you may look at a mandala and think, whoa, I could never do that. In fact, sometimes I look at my own mandalas and I think the same thing. But it's easy because there's a trick, and that trick is you draw a mandala one line at a time. One line, one shape, and then we repeat it again and again and again in a pattern, and that's how the flower or the mandala is going to grow. So I have here what I like to call a grid. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on how to make a grid, and in fact, you don't have to. But if you want to make a mandala that's a bit more precise and detailed, a grid is a really helpful tool. So whether you're going to make a grid or not, the very first thing we're going to do is make a dot or find a point. This can be with your pencil or a pen or a marker. It can be in the very center of your page or wherever you're feeling called to start your mandala. But this is going to be the middle of your creation. So I've made my point with a marker here, and I'm just going to show you really quickly how I use my tools to make this grid. But if you want more details on making a grid, there are tons of videos and resources online, and I can even link to some in the comments after this video is done. So the first thing I do when I make a grid is I'm going to make a lot of circles. Yeah, the shape that a mandala is. Starting from the middle, and they're going to get bigger and bigger like a bullseye. So to do that, I use my compass. I put this point of the compass right in the center of my dot, and then I turn it around like this to draw my circle. And then you widen the compass and you widen your circle. Now you can make as many or as few circles as you want. They can be close together, far apart, or totally random, which is usually what I do. Now, after you have your circles like a bullseye, you're going to make a pizza. That's right, making mandalas is both beautiful and delicious. So when I cut my circles into a pizza, I use a ruler. And the first line I make is just going to go straight across. You can line your ruler up with the edge of your paper, whatever's helpful for you. And you're going to make a straight line this way. Then we're going to make a perpendicular line, or a line that makes a 90-degree angle going up and down. And then you're going to make lines in the middle to make about equal size pizzas. So you'll see in a minute why this is helpful. Again, you do not have to make a grid. It just helps to make sure that everything's the same size, if that's important to you. Okay, so now here's the moment of truth. How do we start? How do we get from this dot into a beautiful flowering mandala? Well, I already told you, one line at a time. So let's start. I am going to use marker today because I'm feeling bold, but a lot of times I start in pencil and then trace over it in pen or color it in later. So before I start a mandala, I usually like to take a few deep breaths just to calm myself and clear my mind. So I'm going to do that now, and you can do it with me. Okay, I think I'm ready. Oftentimes, if I'm making a mandala for somebody else, I'll think of that person. Or if there's something that I want to represent in my mandala, like love or joy, or I think today, because we looked at these awesome pictures, flowers, I'll just think about that. So I'm going to think about flowers, and you just bring something up to your mind that you want to connect with when you start your mandala. And now we're going to do just what I said, and we're going to make one line at a time. So my first line or shape, I think, is going to be like a petal, like a flower. So what I'm going to do is go inside my pizza slice, starting from the middle, and I am going to make one line. Whew, I did it. I swear that is the hardest part. Now we're going to copy that line again and again and again to make it into a pattern. One line, one line, one line. And now my pizza has 8 pieces, so I'm going to make this line 8 times around in the shape of a circle. Whew. Okay, pressure's off. I did it. I started the mandala. Here we go. It's a flower shape. I've got a color. Oh no, now it's time to make a second line. Okay, bring yourself to a peaceful state again. Think about how you want to move forward, and let's just do it. I think I'm going to draw a circle around my petals. I wonder what kind of shapes you guys are drawing. Don't be shy to write it in the comments. There we go, and it's getting a little bit bigger. So what I really love about making a mandala is the more lines you make, the more you can see it grow and change. Okay, so now my circle's a little bit bigger, and I'm going to make another shape. I think I'm going to keep making petals, so this really starts to look like a flower. Now, this time I'm going to go on the lines of my pizza, but again, if you didn't make a grid, it's no problem. Just make lines wherever it feels right, like it's even, or not. There is really no way to make a mistake in a mandala, which is something I learned the hard way. I used to be really scared before I would make a line, but then I realized no matter what I did, as long as I repeated it again and again and again in a pattern, it turned out to be really beautiful because our brains really do love patterns. In fact, I think it's how our brains recognize what we're seeing in the world around us. It's how we interpret information. It's how we create our reality. So when we're making something like a mandala, we're really tapping into that. We're connecting with everything that is, and whoosh, it's coming into being on our paper. That's a really powerful thing. Okay, I hope you guys have some lines going. I think that I'm going to change my color. I'm going to go to a purple, and I'm going to make my next line or my next shape. So I have kind of some petals going, and as you can see in an example like this, mandalas often end up looking like a big flower, petals coming out and out and out. But you don't have to use a petal shape. Remember, mandala means a circle. So here's an example of a mandala that has a lot of circles, and inside of those circles are shapes. This is called a bullseye mandala. Bullseye mandalas are really powerful because they draw your attention to one place in the middle. So in lots of cultures, religions, communities, mandalas are used for meditation or relaxing our mind. And I find that a bullseye mandala is really useful for that. So if you're drawing this kind of mandala inside of your circles, you can just pick a shape that goes in each layer of the circle. For me, I'm going to continue on with my petals. So I'm going to pick another point and I'm going to make one line. And then I'm going to close it off. And you can see how just like a flower, just like a seashell, it's growing. It's kind of like a living thing. It's pretty amazing. Okay, so another tip that I'll give you for mandalas is these lines I've made are beautiful just as they are, but look at all this space that's inside of them. Often I'll draw these big bold lines and then I'll go back inside and add some detail. So it starts to look a little bit more complex. And just like I said in the beginning, you may look at this and think, whoa, I could never do that. But what you'll discover is when you're working one line at a time, one dot at a time, one shape at a time, it starts to grow, and then in the end, it's just a magnificent creation. So I'm going to go inside my first petals using my new color. And I'm going to make a circle, and I think I'm going to color the circle in. I'm coloring it in because it just felt right. And I find that when making a mandala, you really have to go with what feels good. If I start to think about it or make a mandala to look like somebody else's or one that I've made before, I get a little stuck. If you ever find that you're getting stuck, just go back to taking those deep breaths and clear your mind, and then your creating will come from somewhere inside rather than up here. So I'm going to go ahead and finish my circles. And I'm feeling like making another line right in here. Actually, this is the one. And I'm not going to color these in. Maybe another color will go in there. Coloring a mandala is often what I do last, but I find it's really amazing how much it changes it from black and white or from the one color that you're drawing with. Okay, I'm going to go on with a third color. I have a dark pink, I have a light purple, and you know, when we have flowers, we often have green, leaves, stems. So I'm going to move on to a green color, and I'm going to make the next layer of my mandala. And I think I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to make kind of a fat, pointed petal shape. It can almost be a leaf. So again, I'm making one shape over and over again. And we see how it's growing in the shape of a circle. Wonder if you guys are feeling as relaxed as I am. Wow, do you see how that changed that? I really hope you guys post your pictures of your mandala creations and tag Artrageous, put it on our page, because I'd love to see it. What's so special about a mandala is that it's really unique to you and to how you feel in that moment, to what's going on in that moment. Now, I've made hundreds of these, and everyone is completely different, and that's just part of what makes it so magical. And your mandalas are going to be completely different too. They're going to represent you. Okay, I'm going to add a bit of detail in the middle with a lighter color green. Something else that's really fun with mandalas, and actually how the first colorful mandala I showed you today was created is drawing with a friend or a family member, somebody else, and kind of taking turns. So here at the Artrageous Arts community, we sometimes do community mandalas where one person will make a shape and then we'll pass the paper and the next person will make a shape and so on and so on. And it's really beautiful to see how it grows with the influence of other people as well. Okay, great. So actually I'm going to keep going on with this color, and I'm going to get a little bit bigger with my shape now because I'm getting toward the end of my grid. I guess I'm sticking with petals. But it really is a beautiful shape to use in a mandala because it really gives it life, like it's blooming in a way. So I'm turning my paper here. I often see people that don't do that, but it's just easier for me to draw that way. And you can see my shapes aren't all perfect. They're not all exactly the same. If you want to be really, really precise, you can start to measure the distance between the shapes you're drawing or the length between the shapes you're drawing. But I really like when it feels a bit natural like it does here. Okay, I'm gonna add another color and I'm gonna add another shape. I wanna do something with a circle. So I'm gonna start at the top of the leaves and I'm gonna make a circle like this. Now, you might notice I'm going kind of quickly. I'm just flowing. I'm not trying to think about it too much. I know that you kids out there are really good at this. When we're drawing, we've got our crayons out. It's just kind of doing what feels good, and that's what a mandala is all about. Okay, a circle, and then I'm gonna add some kind of petals like this on the outside. And let's count to make sure that I do a pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm gonna repeat that here, 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 all the way around. 5 petals. Kind of looks like a sun. So while I'm finishing this, I think I'll share with you some ideas of some amazing things you can do with mandalas now that you're learning how to make one. One idea I have that's really fun is if you have any fabric paint or any paint that can go on clothes and you have some blank t-shirts, it's a really great design for hats or short shirts or clothing. Painting is another thing I love to do with mandalas. It takes a lot of time if you want to paint inside the lines, but it's really beautiful with so many colors. And one of my very favorite things, since we're all at home right now and are trying to get outside, is going out in nature and having a little bit of a treasure hunt and making a nature mandala. So what I mean is you can go out and collect things like rocks, sticks, leaves, flower petals, shells, whatever you have outside in your house or in your local park, and you can make a mandala by putting those on the ground in this very shape, starting in the center and putting rocks around or leaves around, just making a pattern like you're doing right here on the paper. Okay, I've made it to the end of my circle, and I think that's the end of my outline. So the next thing I would do is go inside, add some more detail like I did in here, except I forgot one. You'll always notice something like that. Add some more color and fill it in. So that's your homework now. Take the lines that you've been creating, color them in, finish the detail, and when you're finished, please share them with Artrageous. I would love to see what you guys did in class today. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope that you enjoyed.
Yay! Oh my gosh, I'm so inspired. I loved that so much. I was kind of just like back there.
Oh good, I thought you were sleeping.
Yeah,
She was just relaxed.
Just super relaxed. Thanks for joining us, everyone, while we turn isolation into inspiration with Christine and mandala making. Now, I had this idea while you were talking about the nature mandala. I think that's our next class with Christine, don't you think?
Ooh.
That'd be so fun. Okay,
Super
guys,
fun.
tomorrow, what's happening tomorrow? Thursday, art class with Sophia.
Yes, that's my favorite.
So fun. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I cannot wait to start my mandala. See you tomorrow, everyone. Be safe, be well, be vibrant.